Coming up on Michigan Replay, the bright new look at Michigan Stadium, a preview of who's who in blue for 2003. We'll reconnect with an old friend who just couldn't stay away, and we'll scout the Chippewas of Central Michigan as we get ready for the opener. All that and more coming up next. Michigan Replay with Lloyd Carr is brought to you in part by Abso Pure Water, delivering quality bottled water since 1908. By Fifth Third Bank, working hard to be the only bank you'll ever need. And by State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Michigan Replay. Well, it's a brand new season for Michigan football. Sadly, you're stuck with a pair of old guys, Jim Brandstatter and Lloyd Carr, for the 2003 season. Coach, it's great to be back. It's great to be playing football again.
It's great to be here with you, Jim, to start another season.
Isn't it fun? I mean, one thing we do every year is, how'd your summer go? Did you have a good summer?
Well, you know what? I had a great summer, except I had one bad day in there where you beat me in golf.
Now, I want you to know.
I hate to publicly admit that.
I know, but I wasn't going to bring that up.
Yes, you would.
No, I wasn't.
And that's why I beat you to the punch.
Oh, well, I wasn't going to do it. I told you after.
But it's like I told you that day, Jim. There's nothing worse than losing to an inferior opponent. But anyway.
I told you that day, after it was over,
you played the best round of your life.
I played the best round all
You'll
summer.
never play that
but
well
I was
again.
focused, because for 2 years I had to listen about you beating me.
No, I got to listen to it.
Well, what about football? You ready?
Yeah, we're ready. We're excited. We've had a good training camp and got a good group of seniors. We've elected tri-captains, Grant Bowman and Carl Diggs, John Navarre, and so we've got good leadership.
And you also have high expectations. A lot of people out there talking about Michigan.
Well, they talk about Michigan every year. We've always got high expectations here.
You're going to start this way already?
Well,
You're going to be on me like this?
Well, there are high expectations, and you know, that's part of the pressure of playing at a place like this and coaching at a place like this, and that's what makes it fun.
Well, we'll get to who the players are. We'll do a scouting report a little later on the program. But besides, Lloyd, you and I being old, and
speak for yourself, Jim.
Well, old
is
old in a relative sense in regards to the show. There are some new things about Michigan football this year.
28 years, isn't it?
That's right.
Show?
Yes, it is.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Anyway, the new things in the show and some of the things that
Larry Adderley sat in your seat at one time.
He did. He started the show way back when. But I've been doing it since 1980, so this is 24 for me.
I remember Bo in those plaid sport coats.
How about those ties? Did you love those ties?
I don't remember the ties.
I like the lapels that met at the shoulders.
Things have changed. Fashion is a little bit different.
And there's a big new change at Michigan Stadium this year. A lot of you folks will remember that Michigan Stadium had a little rough go on the field the past few years. Well, guess what, folks? There are no new divots. It is a brand new turf, and it is absolutely beautiful. But it's also very functional, according to the Director of Football Operations at Michigan, Scott Draper.
And we really did our homework. We really thought that this was a surface that we couldn't make a mistake on, and that we wanted to do our homework. We wanted to interview as many people as we could. We wanted to take players and have them run on the field and get feedback from our kids. And we did that, and I think we took our time making the decision. We took our time making the recommendation to Coach Carr and Bill, and I think by doing that, we came out with what we feel is a surface that's going to last us a long time, a surface that's going to play the way it should be throughout the season, a consistent surface throughout the year, and I think that's what we got. As we looked at our grass surface for the last 12 years, the inconsistency of the surface throughout the season was what we were trying to rectify when we put the artificial in, and I think we've done that. We'll have a great surface in August, September, and then that final game in November, which is, you know, when championships are on the line, we want a great surface for that game.
The official name of the surface is field turf. Safe, consistent, and state-of-the-art. It's a great surface, but Michigan took it a step further by making sure the look was pure Michigan.
The point of discussion, what we were going to put in the center of the field, and should it be the traditional blue M that was many, many years ago, or what you see behind me, the beautiful maize M, and we think that represents a great tradition of Michigan and how the field should look and how the field should represent our program.
Well, the one thing I love about it, and I know you've talked about it, you love seeing the big block M back in the middle of the field.
Yeah, it's great, Jim. The fans are going to love the new look, and certainly the players are going to appreciate.
Well, one of the things that you talked about last year is you're concerned about safety, and because of the divots and things that happen in that field, this is a safe field for players, isn't it?
Well, there's no question that it's safer, and it's. I think our players unanimously have expressed how much better it is. It gives great athletes an opportunity to perform on a consistent basis in terms of the footing that we'll have throughout the season. And certainly as the season goes on, the divots get bigger in a grass field, which means that the safety, it becomes an issue. So I'm delighted with it, and I know our players are.
Well, great. Well, I know the fans will be delighted with it also. When we come back, we'll take a look at who's back in maize and blue, but first we hear from Dave Pearson, who says the new field is getting an A-OK from the players.
The new turf's been great so far. It's, obviously holding up a lot better than the old stuff, and, it's a good playing surface. I think everybody likes it.
Now, the Les Stanford Chevrolet Locker Room Report.
Yeah, we got a lot of depth, and we got a lot of team. Everybody on our team want to play together, and that's what we come out to do. That's what we preach, is play as a team, and we feel like we can be a good defense if we do that.
Well, this Michigan team for 2003 should be a darn good one. A lot of veteran returning guys, and we're going to start looking at the players coming back on the defensive side of the ball. You're going to have some new guys in there, but you're going to have also some good veteran guys, like up front, Grant Bowman.
Well, Bowman is a tenacious competitor, an outstanding football player, and a great leader. Smart,
one of your
tough.
tri-captains.
Yep, he's everything you want in a Michigan football player. And I'm just hoping Norman Hoyer can have the kind of year he's capable of. He's been nagged by injuries, but Norman came here 5 years ago from Phoenix, Arizona, and he's a very talented football player.
And Larry Stevens is a kid that's grown up in that defensive line.
Absolutely. Larry's from Seattle, Washington. Came in and played and has done a great job. Going to be a very, very talented defensive end.
And Carl Diggs, another one of your tri-captains.
Well, he's coming off the broken ankle, and he's rehabbed very well. He's going to be at full speed and ready to go, Jim. And we're delighted about that.
Another rehab guy, Zach Kaufman.
Well, Zach has had a little bit slower go, but he has practiced throughout training camp. He's missed a few, had some swelling, but I think he's going to make a real contribution to our team.
And you like how Jeremy LeSueur has grown into a corner.
Well, Jeremy LeSueur has grown up. He's matured. He's had some ups and downs, but he's an outstanding cornerback.
And another outstanding cornerback that you have in your secondary, Marcus Curry.
Marcus has, in his junior year and late last season, began to play like we knew he eventually would, and we're expecting a great season for Marcus.
And you also have another guy that's getting a lot of preseason mention in All-American teams in Marlon Jackson.
Well, Marlon has had some off-the-field issues, and of course he will not play in this game, but we're expecting him to come back and to have a great season.
You also moved him to safety.
Yes, and I think, Jim, that's going to allow us to get a guy with great athletic ability in the middle of the field, which it gives him an opportunity to make a lot more plays. I think he likes it. I think he's a great football player, and he's going to make a difference.
But it also gives Jim Herman and you some options defensively with that kind of guy in the middle of the field.
Well, yeah, and Marlon will still be in a lot of coverages where he's locking down on, and many times their best receiver, who is in the slot in the nickel defense. So we're just trying to put Marlon in a position where he can give us something we have lacked. He's a great tackler. So we're excited about that move.
Let's move to the offensive side of the ball, and we'll start with the kicking game, which sometimes gets a short shrift. But with Adam Finley, you've got a guy coming back who I think gives you a little bit more opportunity to rest easy in the kicking game.
Well, Jim, he's a great punter, and he's a weapon in terms of field position, which helps your defense. And of course, if you can play good defense, that eventually helps your offense. So he's a gutty competitor, a guy that came on late last season, made some clutch field goals. Finley's a tough guy, and that's what you like in a kicker.
And a veteran offensive line. We'll start with Dave Pearson and go to Tony Pape, David Boz, and Adam Stenovich.
Well, Pearson's a great story. Came out of Brighton High School, played linebacker and fullback and tight end. Bounced around at different positions here, finally end up at center, and he's going to be a real warrior in there, a great competitor.
Tony Pape, the big left tackle.
Well, Pape's been a starter here forever, and one of the real fine tackles we had, and he's going to anchor that line. He's a leader. He's everything you want.
And you like David Boss at guard.
Well, Boss has got great size, great strength, and great movement, and he has a chance to be one of the great ones.
And another tackle that came out a little bit at the end of last year is Adam Stenovich.
Well, Adam suffered a little bit a year ago, missed 3 or 4 games with an injury, but he's a very good football player and the guy that we're counting on, along with Mike Kaloje, a young redshirt freshman, to play that left tackle position for us.
You know, with the loss of Benny Jockery, you think about tight end position being a little bit of a problem, but you've got 2 good ones. One of them's Andy Minery.
Well, Andy's a converted quarterback, Jim, and a guy that's smart. He's loves the move to tight end, and he'll help this football team a lot.
And Tim Massaquoy's the other one.
Well, Tim's another converted wide receiver, so we've converted a couple of guys there. We've had some success in the past, and we're excited about what Tim brings to that position, a guy that can really run.
And the glamour position in Michigan, the running back, Chris Perry's a good one.
Well, I love Perry because he's tough. There's nothing he can't do. He can pass protect. He can catch the football. He runs with power. He's quicker than he has been, and I think Chris Perry is the kind of guy that's you love to block for, every guy on that team, because he's always going to give other people credit. I think he's special.
And any coach loves having a veteran quarterback, and John Navarre fits the bill.
Well, when you've been through all the battles, John's going to go into this season with great confidence because he's proven what he's made of, not only physically but mentally. His teammates selected him as a captain. And he's what you want. He's tough, and he's smart, and he's durable, and he's a great competitor.
Right. In the players coming back, we didn't really show any of the wideouts, but you've got a group of guys that can catch the football for John, too.
Well, we do. And, Jim, we're expecting a great season from Braylon Edwards, a guy that has all the talent in the world, a guy that can make big plays. And but we have a group of a couple of other seniors in there, Calvin Bell, Tyrese Butler, Jermaine Gonzalez. All those guys will play an important role. And we got 3 sophomores, and Jason Avant, Steve Breston, and those two guys were going to give us great depth.
And one question we always ask at this point, people that are going to watch this first game.
And I didn't mention Carl Tapp. So,
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
you got Carl in there?
Yes, sir, because he can run, and so they're we've got a good group, good depth.
Okay. How about newcomers? Anybody going to see action that people haven't seen in Michigan Union before?
You're talking about freshmen.
True freshmen?
Well, I think Garrett Rivas has an opportunity as a place kicker. We'll make a decision this week, but he's kicked the ball very well, and he's very confident. Ryan Mundy will play some. Jerome Jackson will have an opportunity in there at the running back position, I think. Sean Crable, Lamar Woodley, those kids are going to play.
Great. Well, I'm looking forward to it. It's good to have
Prescott
you back.
Burgess.
Prescott Burgess.
So we got a good group of freshmen that are going to contribute.
Well, good deal. When we come back, we'll meet Steve Morrison, but first we hear from John Navarre talking about the prospects being very good with a veteran team.
We got talent, and we've matured, and I think one of the things is we've experienced, and so we've been together, and like the maturity is there, and I think we take care of what we can control and do our jobs, we're going to be just fine.
Who says you can never go home? That's certainly not the case with Steve Morrison. The former Wolverine and NFL linebacker is back at Michigan as a graduate assistant coach working with the outside linebackers. Oh, he tried life away from the game after he retired from the NFL, but it just wasn't getting it done.
I was having a 9-to-5 job. I was in sales. I had some freedom. The biggest thing that you find is that you're not competing on a level every day, and really you're losing all the things you've worked for your whole life and what you wanted to become, and you just kind of find, at least for this was my experience, is that I wasn't being fulfilled. I missed the competitiveness, I missed the camaraderie certainly, and it was something that I needed to get back to desperately, and at the time I was high school coaching, so I had a piece of that, but I knew I had much more inside of me that I wanted to give.
The decision to come back wasn't easy. Morrison is at the entry level, long hours. The pay isn't anywhere near his NFL days, and he's got a wife and son to think about. For Steve, it was the unwavering support of his wife that tipped the scales in favor of his return.
And really, she was the first one to point out to me that I wasn't who I used to be. I wasn't the guy that got up with a purpose in the morning and really attacked life. And you know, she kind of forced me to look at myself, and we made the next logical step. And it was a fantastic situation. I had a hell of an opportunity here at Michigan, and you know, to get back to who I was. But you said it, Jim. In terms of the stress that it has on your family, and I have a 2-year-old son. She does everything, and she's sacrificing. This to me is fun. This is what I want to do. She's the one that's sacrificing right now, and she does it with a smile on her face, and so I owe it all to her, and I owe a lot to her.
Now that he's back where he belongs, he's jumping in with both feet. He's enthusiastic about his job and his future. He's doing what he loves, coaching football, working with linebackers, his old position at his alma mater. And make no mistake, he imparts his passion and his knowledge of the game to the kids he coaches. He's not just out there, he's making a difference.
I certainly stress so-called academics out there. I think you have to know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, you're not going to be a very successful football player, and that's how I tried to play. But also, this is a physical game played by physical men, and if you don't have that, and you don't have that attitude on a day in and day out basis, you're not going to have a chance for success. So you have to marry those two up to fully reach your potential, I believe.
Steve Morrison, quite a story. You're glad to have him back because you coached him, right, when he was playing?
Well, I loved him as a player, and I loved having him back as a coach. He's coaching Pierre Woods, who's new to that position. Of course, Sean Crable and Roy Manning, and they love him because he's special. He's got a great career ahead of him, and you know, and any time you get a Michigan guy back coaching at Michigan, because there's a tradition, a history here, the way we try to play the game and coach the game, and so it's delightful to have him back.
Well, we're glad to have him back because just doing the interview was a great thrill and a great.
And Alex, he's being raised by 2 Michigan varsity.
How about that?
Athletes.
This kid is.
I think that kid's a lock.
I think we got a legacy scholarship
Yes,
going.
we do.
When we come back, we'll get into actually game time. We scout the Central Michigan Chippewas, but first we hear from Grant Bowman. He can't wait to get the season started for real.
It's always nice to get into a game week because it's just fun to prepare for opponent and game plan and you know, learn about personnel and do things like that. So that'll be fun. I mean, after a couple of weeks, you do get tired of going against the same old thing. So it will be nice to sort of, you know, change up the regimen a little bit.
Now, the Les Stanford Chevrolet Locker Room Report.
You can't really hit your teammates the way you want to hit them, right? Because you're trying to keep everybody healthy, trying to keep everybody ready for the first game. So I'm really ready to go out there on August 30th and play with Central Michigan.
I heard from Chris Perry. It's Central Michigan on the board first for the Wolverines in an interesting game because you get to coach against a guy that was your offensive coordinator in '97 when you won a national championship. Mike DeBoard is their head coach for your opener.
Well, I love him like a brother, but you know,
except for this Saturday.
Except for this Saturday, and but Mike is a great football coach. He's in his 4th year at Central. This will be his best team, and he'll have them ready to play.
Well, Jeff Perry never taken a snap in a game, but it looks like this kid may get the start over a kid named Derek Vickers.
Well, he's got a couple of guys that have played more than Perry has, but obviously Mike has got confidence in this kid, and if he's got confidence in him, he's got some stuff to him.
Well, we saw Steve Meeksum as the wide receiver. There's Torrey Humphrey, the tight end. And they'll use the tight end. Mike's a big proponent of that.
Yes, he is. He's going to try to run the football, and I like this back, Terrence Jackson. He's 230 pounds. He's tough and physical. So we're going to have to, he's the kind of guy that you really got to hit to knock down.
And they got some good defensive players, Matt Walgamuth up front, and linebacker Jonathan Nelson, and the strong safety James King. All of them can play.
Well, you know, the biggest thing we've got to look at, Jim, is they've changed defensive coordinators, so I think that we're going to get a different style from the defense they played a year ago. So we're going to get some surprises in this game from the standpoint of new coaches on the staff.
And from your perspective, how does that change your preparation? Are you a little bit more, you know, the ability to, change on the fly when you've got some new things as you game plan?
Well, going in, you're going to have to make some adjustments because you just don't know exactly what to expect. The one thing, the biggest thing that we do know and that we've tried hard to prepare for is that Central Michigan will not huddle. They want to change the tempo of the game offensively. They want to have your defense on its heels by coming to the to the line of scrimmage as soon as the ball is marked ready for play. They're prepared to snap the football.
How close are they then to folks at home watching that Northwestern teams of old where they were right up at the line of scrimmage, spread the field, a lot of run and gun?
Well,
are they close to that?
They traditionally have not thrown the football as much, but they're going to change personnel almost every play, and they're going to run to the line of scrimmage. And so from that standpoint, the tempo of the game is very much like Northwestern.
And from your perspective as a coach, to prepare for that, your defensive coaches have to really be good with their substitution patterns, don't they?
Well, yes, and I think the biggest thing is that the players, what we've tried to do is run 2 huddles at them and prepare for the fact that normally there's about 37 seconds in there between the end of a play and the snap of the next play. In this offense, 12 seconds.
Wow.
So you've got to be, and that changes the tempo. You don't get a chance to huddle. You've got to communicate without huddling. So it's a different style offense.
Got about 30 seconds. From your perspective, first game things you look for, you want to tackle correctly, and you don't want to turn it over. Those are the 2 bugaboos, right?
Well, Jim, you never want to turn the football over because that's going to dictate a lot of football games. To be a better football team this year, we have to tackle better. We have to score more touchdowns in the red zone. Those are the things that we've tried to emphasize. Hopefully, we'll start this season off in the right way.
Well, great. And we will find out about it right here next week. So don't miss it when we come back your way on Michigan Replay.
Michigan Replay has been brought to you in part by The Joy of Pepsi and by Big Boy Restaurants. Big Boy makes you say, oh boy.
Very high goals, and I think, I just got to do my job.
We'll go in the zone with the program that is picked at the top of the Big Ten again. They don't rebuild, they reload. Stay with us. Welcome back. Let's stay in the Big Ten and head east to Ann Arbor. Yeah, nothing new here. A veteran QB who's not flashy but gets the job done, and a strong wideout to haul in all those TD passes. Lloyd Carr isn't sure about the defense, but it's sure to be as strong as always. Our Daryl Schur takes us to high hopes for the Maize and Blue in the zone.
Anderson in motion on 2nd down and 1. Perry through. Touchdown!
I'm tremendously excited about this football team. The kids that comprise this team, the attitude, the work ethic throughout the summer, the winter, the spring has been good.
After a disappointing 3rd place finish in the Big Ten last year and a 10-3 record overall, the number 7 ranked Wolverines are ready to look ahead and erase the mistakes of this past season.
We're almost exactly the same team as we were last year, so we have learned from those mistakes already, and so we're not going to go into these games and make the same mistakes that we've done in the previous years.
Just like every other team, the theme for this year's Wolverines is the same as what you've maybe heard every other year: promising, but with a top-notch receiving core, a solid defense, and a mature John Navarre, all the hype might actually come true.
We have very high goals, and I think, I just got to do my job and stay consistent, prepare and work hard, and do what I can to help this team win and achieve those goals.
Navarre and company will have to be focused if the Wolverines look to get back to where Michigan football is expected to be. That is the national championship picture.
As far as team goals, we set them high every year. Championship is always, mentioned there, and we got to iron out those goals yet through camp, which we're going to do. But we set our goals high. We have the talent, and I think we have the right attitude
which is something special.
Being to the mountain, a national championship, you know, that would be a great end to it, you know, just taking one game at a time, winning each game, and just coming out at the end.
Whether any of this talk actually becomes reality, well, we'll just have to wait and see. In Ann Arbor, Daryl Schur, Fox 17 Sports.